In a letter to respected COP21 world leaders in Paris, France in 2015, Supreme Master Ching Hai urgently advised them to implement vegan law as the solution to mitigate global warming. The letter reads as follows. Respected COP21 world leaders Paris, my special salute and best wishes to all of your distinguished, honoured ladies and gentlemen who have gathered in Paris for the protection of our world. This is just a reminder that just paying money alone cannot save lives, but being vegan does. A lot of evidence and information about this for you to consider are in the book From Crisis to Peace, free online at crisis2peace.org. Countless lives in the present and future, including yours and your children's future, children of your children's, are in your hands. Save them by voting for and implementing vegan law to stabilize the climate. Otherwise, lives on Earth will perish and we will be committing a graver offense than all the acts of killing and wars combined. With all love in God, yours most sincerely, Supreme Master Ching Hai. Vegan.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Across East Africa, at least 36 million people are affected, including children who are severely malnourished. 11 million Ethiopians and 4 million Kenyans are close to starvation. More than 8 million Somalis have nothing to eat. 16 million people cannot get enough water.
Our Fragile Planet, 2023's Wake Up Call, Part 3 of 4. Continue watching to find out more.
No to vegan. Only virtuous people choose it.
Moldova fără cruzime! Moldova fără cruzime! Moldova fără cruzime! Moldova fără cruzime! Cerem atitudine umană! Cerem atitudine umană! Legea! 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 Cerem adoptarea legii! Cerem adoptarea legii!
If you ever visit Gagwazia, you can greet the locals with Nicha Isla, which means, "How are you?" in Gagwaz, one of the region's official languages. My name is Vasil. The joyful people of Gagwazia wish that world leaders will soon make the wise choice to implement vegan laws, taking a crucial step towards saving our planet from environmental disaster.
Make peace now. Let the soldiers go home to rebuild nation torn. Shed your hatred asunder. Let your time be in prayers. Do beg God forgiveness. Be in peace hereafter.
Welcome to our show, Our Fragile Planet, 2023's Wake Up Call, Part 3 of 4. In part 2 of our series, Our Fragile Planet 2023's Wake-Up Call, we covered the most devastating effects of storms, hurricanes, floods, and landslides around the world. Through the impact of global warming, many parts of our planet have also recently experienced more heat waves, wildfires, and droughts, leading to water and food shortages. These events will be examined on our program today. An early summer heat wave struck Asia in April of this year, impacting at least a third of the world's population. People in 14 countries, including India and China, endured extreme temperatures. Thailand set a new national record high temperature of 45.4 degrees Celsius. The government of Thailand issued warnings to its citizens, urging them to stay indoors as the heat index, which combines temperature and humidity, reached a record 54 degrees Celsius. In Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh,
saw the hottest day in 58 years,
with the mercury rising above 40 degrees Celsius. The continent faced yet another heat wave in late May,
when temperatures once again spiked.
Climate change also led to heat waves that shattered temperature records in Spain and Portugal. Spain recorded its hottest ever temperature for April, reaching 38.8 degrees Celsius, while Portugal saw its national record broken with a temperature of 36.9 degrees Celsius. This heat wave was the result of a mass of extremely hot air from Africa combined with a slow-moving weather system. Cities across Morocco also experienced record-breaking temperatures of over 41 degrees Celsius, and temperatures spiked to over 40 degrees Celsius in Algeria. Scientists emphasize that climate change has made such events at least 100 times more likely.
And temperatures during the heat wave would have been 2 to 3.5 degrees Celsius cooler without the influence of climate change.
There are 211 countries and regions which have animal people protection laws. Ethiopia is one of them. Ethiopia Criminal Code, Article 822, states that a person shall be punishable with a fine or arrest if he or she commits acts of cruelty towards animal people or organizes fights or other shows that involve animal folk cruelty. Obey the law of your country. No more animal people slaughterhouses. No more hurting. No more murdering them to eat, to lab tests, or for any reason at all. Be vegan. Make peace. So be it.
This year, the entire world has been experiencing rising temperatures, with even Antarctica witnessing its most intense heat wave ever recorded. Vulnerable populations, particularly those with limited access to cooling,
are at higher risk.
In April, a heat wave resulted in heat stroke and claimed the lives of 13 people in the state of Maharashtra, India. In May, more than 20 million people in the Indian capital, New Delhi, experienced one of the hottest days of the year, with temperatures exceeding 45 degrees Celsius. Dr. Fahad Saeed of the Climate Science and Policy Institute Climate Analytics says, "These people in regions like Asia are the people who have been adapting to these kinds of extreme temperatures for thousands of years, but is now getting beyond their ability to adapt. That's why we are witnessing rising death rates due to heat each year in this part of the world." In Europe, the Mediterranean experienced the full force of scorching heat, with the mercury exceeding 40 degrees Celsius, while Germany, Poland, and Croatia were also hit with a major heat wave this summer. Heat waves lasted more than 2 weeks in Greece, fueling wildfires.
For thousands of vacationers, a stay on roads turns into a nightmare, as they're forced to flee a wildfire burning out of control. With flames blocking roads, many have to escape on foot to safer places. They receive emergency lodgings in schools, gyms, and even aboard passenger ferries. Coast Guard vessels and private ships rescue thousands of people who couldn't reach safety over land.
Temperatures reached 40 degrees on Friday in Athens after a week of strong winds fanned devastating wildfires. Authorities have warned the public to stay indoors, and tourist sites like the Acropolis have been closed.
1 month later, a wildfire in Greece
killed 21 people.
Flames in homes side by side, residents engulfed by thick smoke.
The fire broke out in 5 places at the same time. The whole village from one end to the other had caught fire.
It's been a devastating wildfire season for Greece. Last month, the tourist islands of Rhodes, Evia and Corfu were ravaged by fire. European Union officials blame climate change for the increasing frequency and intensity.
People across Europe had to battle heat waves and wildfires for the second summer in a row.
European health researchers found last week over 61,000 Europeans were killed by extreme heat last summer. Temperatures may well be higher for longer this summer. From the air, the charred acres of climate crisis across southern Europe. Greece, Spain, there are wildfires in Italy, France, and now here in Switzerland.
The situation in the United States was no better, with millions having to cope with severe heat waves and wildfires that spiraled out of control.
Overnight, fast-moving wildfires outside of LA, leaving residents fleeing for their lives. Evacuations underway in Riverside County as 3 fires ravage homes and rip through thousands of acres.
That's very scary, yeah.
The flames feasting on land, baking in the sun.
We are in the midst of a historic heat wave.
Those hit hardest across the board, people who work outside and those without homes. As people break a sweat, the heat could break records in 14 different states this weekend. And it's not just out west. In muggy Miami, Florida, it feels like 107.
Just weeks later, another deadly heat wave swept through the United States.
Another round of record-breaking heat is scorching most of the U.S. From California to Maine, blistering temperatures have 150 million Americans on high alert as July is on track to be the Earth's hottest month ever recorded. And a new report says it may be the warmest month the planet has seen in 120,000 years. In El Paso, Texas, temperatures have hit 100 for 43 straight days, while Phoenix, Arizona has seen a scorching 110 degrees for nearly 30 days in a row.
In June, the Texas Department of State Health Services confirmed at least 34 heat-related fatalities. Meanwhile, in Maricopa County, Arizona, the Arizona Department of Public Health reported 202 deaths as heat-associated during the summer, with an additional 356 suspected heat-related deaths under investigation. It's projected that the count of heat-related illnesses and fatalities will continue to rise. Several heat-related deaths were also reported in California. Hawaii witnessed a deadly wildfire. Tourists and residents alike were forced to flee for their lives.
It's hell on earth. Raging fires on the Hawaiian island paradise of Maui, a major destination for honeymooners. Scenes from the island are described as apocalyptic. The lieutenant governor says the hospitals are overburdened with burn patients.
911 is down, cell service is down, phone service is down.
Those raging wildfires on Maui are now Hawaii's deadliest natural disaster in the state's history. On Tuesday, the flames, fueled by hurricane-force winds, torched several areas on the island. Annalise Cochran described how she survived, spending more than 7 hours in the water.
I climbed over the seawall into the ocean, and while the fire was happening and the cars were exploding, we would duck into the water and we would put our mouths as close to the surface as we could so that we could breathe.
Residents of the historic town of Lahaina returning to find their homes reduced to piles of ash and rubble. Officials say more than 2,200 structures damaged or destroyed. More than 85% were residential. Video from the Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources shows what happened to the town of Kula. You can see nothing but concrete columns left at this home.
The wildfires in Hawaii tragically claimed the lives of 97 people. On the U.S. mainland, the state of Washington fought devastating wildfires that resulted in the deaths of at least 2 individuals, the destruction of hundreds of homes, and the scorching of over 20,000 acres of land.
Stop praying to heavens. Just be one of them. Do good deeds. Make peace. Be vegan. What do you think? Who are living there? Those beings in heavens.
Canada also grappled with its worst ever wildfires,
as at least 4 wildland firefighters lost their lives while on duty.
Tens of thousands were forced to evacuate due to the intense fires.
The intensity of the flames is terrifying. Moving rapidly over a vast area, there are more than 1,000 wildfires burning throughout Canada. About a third of them are in British Columbia, where 30,000 people have been told to leave their homes. Another 36,000 have been warned they may have to evacuate at any moment. Kelowna, a popular tourist destination about 180 miles east of Vancouver, is on the edge of a huge inferno.
A chart of Canadian wildfires through the years vividly reflects the spike seen this year. More than 14 million hectares have been burned. That's twice the previous record in 1989. Long-term drought conditions and record-high temperatures are cited as factors by Canadian authorities.
The record-breaking wildfires in Canada released a staggering 2.2 billion tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, approximately 3 times the country's annual carbon footprint. Wind carried wildfire smoke across the United States, resulting in dangerous air quality in many cities, including densely populated New York City. In North Africa, Algeria experienced scorching temperatures reaching almost 48 degrees Celsius, which fueled wildfires that tragically claimed the lives of at least 34 people.
The fire season in both Algeria and Tunisia has been particularly bad this year, with blistering temperatures reaching 48 degrees Celsius, much of it exacerbated by a heatwave that's broken records in several Mediterranean countries. Wildfires are burning across Algeria's northern and eastern coastal regions. Firefighters and military aircraft are battling to control dozens of blazes in forests and agricultural areas. The extreme heat and high winds have made it harder for emergency crews to contain them. As flames burnt into the night, an orange glow shrouded the mountainous Kabylie region. Fires spread to residential areas, sweeping through several villages. Much of Algeria's northern provinces have been torched. Homes, trees and land left in ashes.
People woke up at 6 a.m. surrounded by fires. There were a lot of calamities and deaths. Peace be upon their souls. People's houses are burned, some tourists died, some locals fled the region.
The flames have spread as far as Algeria's border with Tunisia.
Vegan, harvester of boundless merit.
She's super people-oriented. She just loves it. 5 people over or something, and she's sleeping in some bed or something, and she hears us. She'll come out to hang out in the living room with us. She doesn't want to be left out.
We'll take a brief interval and be back soon. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television.
Russia, leave Ukraine or Ukraine now. Peace be with you too.
Welcome back to Our Fragile Planet 2023's Wake Up Call, Part 3 of 4. The world is facing water scarcity due to extreme droughts, low rainfall, and insufficient water management. Approximately 2 billion people lack access to clean, safe drinking water.
The Earth is not only getting warmer with more intense heat waves, but droughts are also an increasing threat. Water is becoming increasingly scarce worldwide. 25 countries are already affected by an extreme lack of water. It's having severe consequences for people, access to food, and local economies. Countries in the Middle East and North Africa are the hardest hit. By 2050, all people in the region will suffer from extreme water stress. India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka are also among the hotspots.
European countries not only face the challenges of heat waves and wildfires this year, but their farmers also suffered agricultural losses due to a second consecutive year of drought. prompting them to seek assistance. High temperatures and low rainfall have placed significant stress on the freshwater supply in France, leading to water disruptions for over 30,000 residents in various communes. Spain also implemented water restrictions in response to the scarcity.
There are 211 countries and regions which have animal people protection laws. Obey the law of your country. No more animal people slaughterhouses. No more hurting. No more murdering them to eat, to lab test, or for any reason at all. Be vegan. Make peace. So be it.
In South America, both Brazil and Argentina grappled with historic droughts. The water level of the Amazon River dropped to a record low, marking the lowest point in 120 years.
Homes designed to float, stuck in mud, dried up rivers, thousands of dead fish and dolphins. Brazil's Amazon is in the midst of a serious drought, impending the lives of thousands.
I can't even leave the house with all this mud, and there is no way to push it back into the water.
With no end in sight, it's estimated 500,000 people could ultimately be affected. Rivers are the main means of transportation in the Amazon. Some areas are only accessible by boat. The drought has left them isolated, forcing the government to decree a state of emergency.
No estado do Amazonas, por exemplo,
out of the 62 towns in the Amazon state, 56 are at risk of running out of drinkable water, food, basic products, and medicine.
Deforestation and climate change are being blamed for the drought.
Argentina experienced its worst drought in more than 60 years, devastating the crops of the world's leading exporter of processed soy and the third largest supplier of corn. The drought-affected growing areas across the country
have led to a 51.5% reduction in soybean production.
Argentina incurred losses of approximately $20 billion, equivalent to almost 3% of its gross domestic product due to the drought. Nearby, Uruguay also faced some of the worst droughts in decades, resulting in the depletion of the reservoir that supplies drinking water to millions. Extreme weather events, including severe droughts and floods, can result in crop failures and pose a significant threat to food security. Prolonged heat waves, droughts, and a lack of rainfall in Indonesia left thousands of people grappling with water and food shortages.
It's been 4 long, hot months since the East Nusa Tenggara region has seen rain. These once fertile rice fields are now terraces of parched dirt. Thousands of hectares in the Prabakul village in the East Sumba district have been destroyed by drought.
The rain stopped in May this year. We haven't been able to plant anything since then. We need help from the government. We have to ration our food because the rice that we have is not enough to consume like on normal days.
Residents are also struggling to access clean water. With catchments and rivers reduced to a trickle, they have no choice but to walk kilometres to the nearest riverbed, then take supplies back to their village to drink, wash and irrigate their dying crops.
Stop the war, stop the bombing against our civilians, people. Please keep people living in peace.
Oh Gaza, be strong, destroy the war, not each other.
Supreme Master Qinghai, vegan.
Many regions around the world have endured droughts, resulting in water and food shortages. The 2023 Global Report on Food Crisis revealed that approximately 258 million people in 58 countries and territories were confronted with acute food insecurity at crisis or even more severe levels.
The number of forcibly displaced people in countries facing food crisis is the highest in the history of the report, at 72.8 million. The country with the highest numbers of people in vulnerable categories in 2022 was Nigeria. Of those suffering from the most severe classification, catastrophe, which is also known as famine, more than half were in Somalia. But people in Yemen, South Sudan, Afghanistan, Burkina Faso, and for the first time, Haiti also suffered from famine.
The Horn of Africa finds itself in a dire situation due to the impact of 5 consecutive failed rainy seasons, severely affecting agricultural production in the region.
This is a familiar sight in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. Hundreds of families are heading to the capital from areas across the country. They are fleeing a drought that has wiped out their food and water. Some of their children have died. Many are malnourished. Across East Africa, at least 36 million people are affected, including children who are severely malnourished. 11 million Ethiopians and 4 million Kenyans are close to starvation. More than 8 million Somalis have nothing to eat. 16 million people cannot get enough water. Wildlife has also been affected. The government estimates at least 200 elephants died because of the drought in 2022.
The crisis began with a drought, not uncommon in Somalia, but experts say the world's changing climate turned last year's into the longest and most severe in the country's history.
Somalia is a very small country, and the country is not contributing to climate change. But it's the country who is paying the heaviest price in terms of the effects of the climate change.
The drought displaced millions and killed more than 40,000 people in 2022 alone. Half those fatalities were children under the age of 5.
Recent studies indicate that extreme weather events have become more frequent over the past 2 decades due to climate change. This trend is expected to result in an increasing number of people facing water and food shortages. Projections suggest that by 2025, 2/3 of the world's population may confront water shortages. Research also highlights the significant impact of water consumption and water pollution associated with the animal people livestock raising industry and the cultivation of animal people feed crops. to preserve our crucial water resources for drinking and vegetable agriculture, switching to the vegan diet is essential.
All information concerning the scientific evidence of climate change and its solution is in Supreme Master Ching Hai's book, From Crisis to Peace, free for download at crisistopeace.org.
We all know that meat and dairy production is responsible for global climate changing emissions. Going vegan is one of the 4 biggest environmental contributions a single person can make. Shruti Jain, vegan.
One day my dad had taken Milo for a walk and he found this injured bird. So he brought him home. You okay? You could tell he was quite shaken up by whatever he'd gone through. Milo sat by his side literally all day long. Cracker would start to come down to the bottom of the cage and he would sit next to Milo and Milo would sit outside of the cage, try and lick him. Then one day Cracker climbed down from the cage and we all just stopped. We kind of wanted to see what would happen. Milo was just so excited, wagging his tail. He followed Cracker around the living room and then it just became this friendship.
Loving viewers, thank you for your company today.
Please join us again on Thursday, November 30th
for our Fragile Planet 2023's Wake Up Call, Part 4 of 4. Up next is Diana Navon, vegan, and the Better Science Campaign, Part 2 of 2. May all beings be safe and protected by the divine.
In a letter to respected COP21 world leaders in Paris, France in 2015, Supreme Master Ching Hai urgently advised them to implement vegan law as the solution to mitigate global warming. The letter reads as follows. Respected COP21 world leaders Paris, my special salute and best wishes to all of your distinguished, honoured ladies and gentlemen who have gathered in Paris for the protection of our world. This is just a reminder that just paying money alone cannot save lives, but being vegan does. A lot of evidence and information about this for you to consider are in the book From Crisis to Peace, free online at crisistopeace.org. Countless lives in the present and future, including yours and your children's future, children of your children's, are in your hands. Save them by voting for and implementing vegan law to stabilize the climate. Otherwise, lives on Earth will perish and we will be committing a graver offense than all the acts of killing and wars combined. With all love in God, yours most sincerely, Supreme Master Ching Hai, vegan.
Be vegan. Make peace. Do good deeds. Hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/PE.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/PE.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule и suprememastertv.com/PE.
Манай нэвтрүүлгүүд олон хэлээр гардаг зочлог хаяг suprememastertv.com/schedule болон suprememastertv.com/PE.